The world often counts what people have, but it rarely notices what they carry in their hearts. Emily Carter looked down at the small pile of coins resting in her palm and took a quiet breath before stepping toward the checkout counter. It was only a simple purchase, a small birthday gift for her mother, a soft blue scarf she had found after searching through several stores because she knew Grace Carter loved that color. It was not expensive, it was not luxurious, but it was chosen with love. Emily carefully placed the coins on the counter one by one. Quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies. Every coin represented a small decision she had made over the past few weeks. Skipping coffee in the morning, walking instead of taking the bus when the weather allowed, saving every extra dollar because her mother's birthday mattered more than convenience. She knew some people might judge her. She just hoped they would not notice. But the world did notice. The woman standing behind Emily in line glanced at the coins and whispered something to the person beside her. A few customers looked over with curious expressions. Emily felt the attention but kept her eyes lowered. She had learned a long time ago that embarrassment became easier to carry when you refused to let it define you. "Is there another way you can pay?" the cashier asked politely, but with a hint of impatience. Emily looked at the small wallet in her hand. There were no credit cards, no hidden savings. Only the money she had carefully collected. "No," she answered softly. "This is what I have." The cashier began counting the coins while the line behind her grew longer. The quiet sounds of metal touching the counter felt louder than they should have. Emily wished she could disappear, but then she looked at the scarf in her bag and remembered why she was there. Her mother had spent years sacrificing everything for her. This small gift was her way of saying thank you. Across the store, near the entrance, a man stood watching the scene unfold. William Anderson had entered the luxury boutique only minutes earlier after a long morning of business meetings. At 40 years old, he was the founder and CEO of Anderson Holdings, a company recognized around the world. His schedule was usually measured in minutes. Meetings, decisions, investments. Every moment had a purpose. But now his attention was fixed on one woman standing quietly at the counter. He noticed what others missed. She was not careless with money. She was careful with it. He saw the way she protected the scarf in the bag. He saw the way she ignored the whispers around her. He saw the dignity she carried even when people made her feel small. William knew something about being judged. Years earlier, before success found him, he had experienced moments when people looked at him and saw only what he lacked. But someone had once treated him differently. Someone had shown him kindness when he had nothing to offer in return. That memory never left him. As the cashier finally finished counting the coins, Emily reached for the bag and quietly thanked her. She did not complain. She did not explain herself. She simply turned to leave. But before she could take another step, a calm voice came from behind her. "Emily." She stopped immediately. Her expression changed because she recognized the voice. Slowly, she turned around. The man standing there was someone she never expected to see again. William Anderson looked at the coins on the counter, then at the woman who had once changed his life without knowing it. His voice softened. "Why didn't you call me?" The entire store became silent. Emily stared at him, confused and surprised. She had not seen him in years. She had never expected him to remember her. And she certainly never expected the most powerful man in the room to be the person who knew exactly what those coins represented. Emily Carter stood completely still, unsure whether she had heard him correctly. The man standing in front of her was not just another customer in the store. He was William Anderson, one of the most recognized CEOs in the country. Yet the way he looked at her was not the way wealthy people usually looked at someone struggling. There was no judgment, no sympathy, only recognition. "How do you know my name?" Emily finally asked. William glanced at the scarf inside her shopping bag before looking back at her. "Because you were the person who helped me when nobody else stopped." The words brought back a memory she had almost forgotten. 6 years earlier, before Anderson Holdings became a global company, William had been a young entrepreneur facing one of the most difficult moments of his life. His first business attempt had failed. His savings were gone. The confidence everyone saw in him today had not existed yet. During that time, he had spent a cold evening sitting alone at a small train station, trying to figure out what his next step would be. He remembered feeling invisible. That was when Emily found him. She was younger, working part-time after college and barely earning enough for herself. But she noticed the stranger sitting alone. She offered him a warm meal and a few encouraging words. She never asked for anything. She never knew his name. She simply believed that someone having a difficult day deserved kindness. I did not think you would remember that, Emily said quietly. William smiled. I never forgot. The people nearby who had been watching the scene suddenly became silent. The same woman who had been judged moments earlier was now standing beside the person many of them admired. But Emily did not seem interested in the attention. She looked uncomfortable. William, you do not have to do this. He looked confused. Do what? Make everyone feel bad for what happened. She glanced toward the customers who had whispered about her. I do not want anyone to feel sorry for me. William nodded slowly. That was exactly what he remembered about her. Years ago, she had helped him without making him feel weak. Even now, she wanted respect, not pity. That is why I came over, he said. Not because you needed saving. Emily looked at him. Then why? William glanced at the coins still resting near the register. Because you reminded me of the person who believed in me before I had anything to show. The cashier quietly placed the receipt on the counter. Emily picked up her bag and thanked her politely. She did not hold anger toward anyone. That surprised William more than anything. Outside the store, the afternoon air was cool as customers continued walking past them. The busy street moved around them, unaware of the emotional reunion happening beside the entrance. Your company is doing well, Emily said. William smiled slightly. It is. I saw your name in the news. She looked down. I am happy for you. He studied her expression. And what about you? Emily smiled gently. I am doing okay. William noticed the answer was carefully chosen. Just okay. She laughed softly. Life is not always easy. He nodded. I know. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Two people who came from completely different places stood together, connected by a moment of kindness from years ago. William looked at the small bag in her hand. Your mother's birthday? Emily nodded. Yes. You saved for this. She smiled. A little at a time. William looked away for a moment, remembering the same determination he saw in her years ago. She had not changed. The world had changed around her, but she still carried the same heart. Emily, he said softly, why did you never call me? She looked surprised. Call you? After that night? After you helped me? She smiled. Because you did not owe me anything. William looked at her in disbelief. You helped someone who had nothing to give you, and you never expected anything? Emily shrugged gently. Kindness is not supposed to be a business deal. Those words stayed with him. Years ago, she gave him hope when he had nothing. Today, he had the chance to return something far more valuable than money. He had the chance to remind her that her kindness had always mattered. William Anderson and Emily Carter stood outside the boutique as the afternoon crowd continued moving around them. The city remained busy, but for a few moments, everything felt quiet. Emily still struggled to understand why the man in front of her remembered a simple act of kindness from so many years ago. To her, that evening had been nothing extraordinary. She had simply seen someone who looked like he needed help. I honestly did not think about it again, Emily admitted. William looked surprised. You did not. She shook her head. No, I was just trying to be a decent person. Those words reminded him exactly why he never forgot her. Many people had offered him advice when he became successful. Many people wanted to be close to him after he built his company. But Emily had been there when he had nothing to offer. She did not know his future. She did not know his name. She only knew that another person needed kindness. William invited Emily to a quiet coffee shop nearby, so they could talk without the noise of the street around them. She hesitated at first. Years of experience had taught her to be careful. She was not the same young woman who helped a stranger without thinking about consequences. She was now responsible for her mother and her own future. But something about William felt sincere. Not because he was wealthy, because he remembered. As they sat across from each other, William asked about her life. Emily spoke honestly. She explained that after college, she had faced difficult years. She worked multiple jobs. She helped care for her mother. She learned how to stretch every dollar and appreciate every small victory. You seem different from what I remember, William said. Emily smiled. Different good or different bad? He smiled back. Different stronger. She looked down at her coffee cup. Life teaches people things. William nodded. It taught me too. He told her about the years before Anderson Holdings became successful. He explained that after she helped him, he found the courage to try again. Her kindness did not magically solve his problems, but it reminded him that failure did not mean the end. You gave me something I needed at that moment, he said. You gave me a reason to believe I could keep going. Emily looked surprised. I gave you a sandwich and a few words. William smiled. Sometimes that is enough. Their conversation continued, and William learned more about the woman she had become. He discovered that Emily still lived simply. She did not chase luxury. She cared about family, honesty, and doing what was right. He also learned that the coins she used that day were not a sign of carelessness. They were proof of determination. People saw coins, William said quietly. I saw someone who saved every piece she had for someone she loved. Emily looked away, touched by the understanding in his words. She was used to people making assumptions. Few people ever tried to see the story behind them. Before they left, William offered to help with her financial situation. Emily immediately shook her head. I appreciate that, but I do not need someone to rescue me. William respected the answer. I know. He paused. That is not what I want. She looked at him. Then what do you want? William answered carefully. I want you to know that the person who helped me when I had nothing will always have someone willing to stand beside her. Emily was quiet. She had expected pity. She had expected a wealthy man to solve problems with money. Instead, he offered respect. That difference mattered. The next morning, William arrived at Anderson Holdings and looked through a report about community programs his company supported. For years, he had donated money because it was expected. But after seeing Emily again, he realized something was missing. He wanted to understand the people behind the numbers. He wanted his success to create opportunities, not just headlines. And somewhere across the city, Emily placed the blue scarf she bought for her mother on the table, still unaware that a single act of kindness from her past had inspired one of the most powerful people in the country to change the way he saw the world. The next morning, William Anderson returned to Anderson Holdings with a different feeling than before. The building was the same. The glass walls, the executive offices, and the endless meetings remained exactly as they had always been. But something inside him had shifted. For years, he believed success was measured by growth, recognition, and the ability to create opportunities. After seeing Emily Carter again, he realized success also carried a responsibility. It was about remembering the people who helped you before the world knew your name. William sat in his office reviewing reports when his assistant entered with a question. The Community Foundation meeting is next week. Do you want to approve the usual donation? William looked at the document, but did not answer immediately. The usual donation. Those words stayed with him. For years, he had signed checks and supported causes because it was part of being a responsible CEO. But he rarely saw the people behind the numbers. He rarely understood their stories. No, he finally said. His assistant looked surprised. No. William nodded. I want to visit the programs ourselves. That decision marked the beginning of a different approach. Meanwhile, Emily returned to her normal routine. She went back to work, cared for her mother, and continued living the simple life she had always known. She did not expect anything from William. She did not believe kindness created a debt. That was what made him respect her even more. One afternoon, William visited the small neighborhood where Emily lived. He wanted to understand the life she had built. He saw the modest home she shared with her mother. He saw the garden Grace Carter carefully maintained. He saw the quiet community where people knew each other's names. It was different from the world he lived in. There were no luxury cars, no private meetings, no people trying to impress anyone. There was simply connection. Grace welcomed him warmly after Emily introduced them. So you are the person Emily helped all those years ago? Grace asked with a smile. William laughed softly. Apparently, I am. Grace looked at her daughter proudly. She always had a habit of helping people who needed it. Emily smiled. Mom, it is true, Grace continued. Even when she had very little, she always found a way to give something. William listened carefully. Those words confirmed what he already knew. Emily's kindness was not something she showed once. It was who she was. Before leaving, William noticed an old photograph on the wall. It showed Emily when she was younger, standing beside her mother outside the same house. She looked happy, even though they clearly had fewer resources than they did today. You have always been this person, William said quietly. Emily looked at the photograph. I have just tried to do what is right. William smiled. That is rarer than you think. The following week, William invited Emily to Anderson Holdings. Not as a favor, not as someone receiving charity. He wanted her opinion. He was creating a new community support initiative and believed the most important perspective should come from someone who understood real struggles. When Emily entered the company building, she felt out of place at first. Employees walked quickly through the lobby wearing expensive suits. The environment was completely different from her everyday life. But William welcomed her with the same respect he had shown outside the store. "You belong here," he told her. Emily looked surprised. "I'm not sure everyone would agree." William glanced around the room. "Then they have something to learn." During the meeting, Emily shared ideas based on her own experiences. She talked about dignity. She talked about opportunity. She talked about how people often needed someone to believe in them before they could believe in themselves. Everyone listened. Not because William asked them to, because her words mattered. Later that day, William watched Emily leave the building with the same quiet confidence she had shown when she placed coins on the counter. Nothing about her had changed. The world simply finally noticed what had always been there. And William understood something important. He did not want to help Emily because she needed saving. He wanted to stand beside her because she had always been someone worth standing beside. The moment Emily Carter walked into Anderson Holdings, she felt like she had stepped into another world. The polished floors reflected the bright lights above. Employees moved quickly through the lobby carrying laptops, documents, and cups of expensive coffee. Everyone seemed to know exactly where they belonged. Emily quietly held the folder William Anderson had given her and reminded herself why she was there. Not because she was special, not because she had received a favor. She was there because William believed her perspective mattered. That thought alone felt unfamiliar. For most of her life, Emily had been the person standing outside important conversations. She was the person working quietly, solving problems, and hoping nobody noticed when life became difficult. Now people were asking for her opinion. During the first meeting for William's new community support initiative, several executives gathered around the conference table. They presented statistics, financial plans, and projected results. Emily listened carefully. She appreciated the preparation, but she noticed something missing. After everyone finished speaking, William looked at her. "What do you think?" The room became quiet. Emily looked around before answering. "I think the numbers are important, but they do not tell the whole story." One executive leaned forward. "What do you mean?" Emily opened the folder in front of her. "When people need help, they are not just numbers on a report. They are people trying to make difficult choices every day." She explained how many struggling families did not only need financial support. They needed access. They needed someone to believe they were capable. They needed opportunities that allowed them to rebuild their confidence. The room listened carefully. William watched quietly. This was exactly why he invited her. Not because she had business experience, because she understood people. After the meeting ended, one executive approached William. "She has an interesting perspective." William smiled. "She has a perspective many people never hear." Later that afternoon, William and Emily walked through the company building together. Employees greeted William respectfully, but Emily noticed something. He stopped to greet them back. He asked about their families. He remembered names. She realized the man she met years ago was still there beneath the title and success. "You have changed," Emily said. William looked surprised. "Have I?" She nodded. "The person I met years ago was searching for a reason to continue. The person standing here now is trying to give others a reason too." William smiled softly. "Maybe I learned from the right person." Emily looked away, slightly embarrassed. She had never thought of herself as someone who changed lives. She had simply done what felt right. That evening, William attended a charity event hosted by his company. Many important people were there. Investors, business leaders, community representatives. But when he spoke, he did not talk about profits or achievements. He talked about people. "Success is not only about what we build," he said. "It is also about who we remember while building it." Emily watched from the audience. She noticed the same message that had always existed in William's actions. He was not trying to prove he was generous. He was trying to create something meaningful. After the event, several guests approached Emily and thanked her for her ideas. Some admitted they had never considered the challenges she described. Emily smiled politely, but she did not feel like a different person. She was still the same woman who counted coins carefully before buying a gift for her mother. The difference was that people were finally listening. Before leaving, William handed Emily a small envelope. She looked confused. "What is this?" He smiled. "Open it later." When she arrived home, she found a handwritten note inside. It did not contain money. It did not contain an offer she could not refuse. It contained one sentence. "Thank you for reminding me that success means nothing if we forget the people who helped us get there." Emily held the note quietly. Years ago, She gave kindness to a stranger without expecting anything. Now, that kindness had returned in a way she never imagined. And William understood something too. The greatest people are not always the ones standing in the spotlight. Sometimes they are the ones quietly choosing to do the right thing when nobody is watching. The story of Emily Carter's kindness slowly became known throughout Anderson Holdings. But Emily herself remained unchanged. She still arrived early. She still helped others whenever she could. She still believed that a person's value was never determined by their bank account or the things they owned. William Anderson noticed that more than anyone. He had spent years surrounded by people who wanted opportunities, connections, and influence. Emily was different. She never asked for anything. She never reminded him of what she had done. She never used the past to create an advantage for herself. That was exactly why William respected her. One morning, William invited Emily to visit a community center that his company supported. He wanted her to see the impact of the new program they had created together. When they arrived, Emily looked around with surprise. Families were receiving career guidance, students were attending educational workshops, and people who once felt forgotten were being given new opportunities. "You built all of this?" Emily asked. William shook his head. "No, people built this. I just helped create a place where they could begin." Emily smiled because she recognized the humility in his answer. The same humility she had seen years ago when he was not yet successful. Later that afternoon, William and Emily sat outside the center while children played nearby. "Do you ever regret helping me back then?" William asked. Emily looked confused. "Why would I?" "Because you gave your time to someone who could not give you anything back." She smiled gently. "That was never the reason to help someone." William looked at her carefully. "You really believe that?" Emily nodded. "Yes. If kindness only exists when we receive something in return, then it is not really kindness." Her words stayed with him. William had built an empire by understanding value. But Emily reminded him that some of the most valuable things in life could not be measured. That evening, William attended a board meeting where executives discussed the future of Anderson Holdings. Several leaders praised the company's financial growth and market success. But William introduced a different topic. "I want us to focus more on people," he said. One executive looked surprised. "You mean employee benefits?" William shook his head. "More than that. I mean understanding the communities around us. Understanding the people who never get invited into rooms like this." The room became quiet. William explained that the company's next major initiative would focus on creating opportunities for people facing difficult circumstances. He wanted programs designed not from assumptions, but from real experiences. He wanted voices like Emily's included. After the meeting, one executive asked him privately, "Why does her opinion matter so much?" William smiled. "Because she understands something many successful people forget." "What is that?" "People do not need someone to look down at them. They need someone willing to stand beside them." Meanwhile, Emily returned home to find her mother sitting at the kitchen table with the blue scarf she had bought. Grace smiled warmly. "It is beautiful." Emily laughed softly. "It took me a while to save for it." Her mother touched the scarf carefully. "That makes it more meaningful." Emily thought about William's words and everything that had happened. She still could not believe that a small act from years ago had created such a connection. She never helped that stranger because she expected anything. She helped because someone needed kindness in that moment. The next day, William visited Emily again, but this time he did not come as a CEO offering assistance. He came as a friend. They walked through her neighborhood and talked about ordinary things. Favorite foods, childhood memories, dreams that had changed over time. For the first time, they were not discussing the past or what Emily had done for him. They were simply getting to know each other. And somewhere between those conversations, William realized something unexpected. The person who once helped him believe in himself was not only someone he wanted to thank. She was someone he wanted to keep in his life. Because sometimes the people who change our future are not the ones who give us everything. They are the ones who remind us that we were capable of becoming something greater all along. The days after Emily Carter joined the Anderson Holdings initiative brought unexpected changes, but the biggest change happened quietly. It happened in conversations, in small moments, in the way people began seeing each other differently. William Anderson had spent years leading from the top of the company. He believed he understood success, but working beside Emily showed him something he had overlooked for too long. The most valuable ideas often came from people who were never invited into important rooms. Emily continued working with the community program, but she remained humble about her role. When employees thanked her, she always responded the same way. "I am just sharing what I have learned." William admired that about her. She never acted like she had all the answers. She simply understood what it felt like to struggle and still keep moving forward. One afternoon, William invited Emily to a company leadership meeting. Several executives gathered around the large conference table. Some were curious about her presence. Others wondered why William had chosen someone without a traditional corporate background. Emily noticed the questions in their expressions, but she stayed calm. William introduced her without mentioning the story from years ago. He did not want people to value her because she had once helped him. He wanted them to value her because of who she was. "Emily has helped us understand something important," William said. "A company cannot create solutions for people if it never listens to them." During the meeting, Emily presented ideas for expanding the community program. She talked about practical support, education opportunities, and creating pathways for people who needed a second chance. One executive questioned whether the plan would be profitable. Emily looked at him calmly. "Not everything valuable can be measured immediately." The room became quiet. William smiled because he recognized those words. They were the same kind of truth she had shown him years earlier. After the meeting, one of the younger employees approached Emily. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "I have worked here for 2 years, and today was the first time I felt like someone was thinking about people like us." Emily smiled warmly. Everyone deserves to be heard. Later that evening, William and Emily walked through the city after leaving the office. The streets were filled with people rushing home, carrying their own stories and challenges. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you walked past me that night?" William asked. Emily thought about it. "Maybe your life would still have worked out." William shook his head gently. "Maybe, but I do not think I would have become the same person." Emily looked at him. "You give me too much credit." "No," he replied. "I give you exactly the credit you deserve." They continued walking in comfortable silence. There was no need for dramatic words. Their connection had always been built on something simple: respect. Years earlier, Emily saw a person who needed kindness. She did not see failure. She did not see someone without value. She saw a human being. And now William saw the same thing in her. Not a poor girl who needed help. Not someone defined by her struggles. He saw a woman who carried strength, compassion, and dignity. The following week, William received an invitation to speak at a major business conference. He was expected to discuss company growth and future investments. Instead, he surprised everyone by telling a personal story about the person who changed his understanding of success. He did not mention Emily by name. He simply said, "The person who taught me the most about leadership was someone who had the least reason to believe they had power." The audience listened carefully. Real success is not about standing above people. It is about remembering the people who stood beside you before you had anything to offer. Across the city, Emily watched a recording of the speech from her small living room. She smiled quietly. She still could not believe that a simple act of kindness had traveled so far. But maybe that was how kindness worked. It started small. It moved quietly. And when the time was right, it returned in ways nobody could have predicted. The following weeks brought a new chapter for both Emily Carter and William Anderson. What began with a few coins on a store counter had become something far greater than either of them expected. But the most meaningful change was not the opportunities created or the attention that followed. It was the way people began to see each other. William continued expanding the community initiative, but he made sure Emily remained at the center of the decisions. Not because of their history, not because he owed her anything, but because she understood something many leaders forgot. Real solutions came from listening to real experiences. During a company meeting, William introduced Emily as a key advisor for the new program. Some employees already knew her story. Others only knew that the CEO trusted her judgment. Emily stood in front of the room, feeling nervous, but she remembered the same lesson she had learned throughout her life. Confidence was not about pretending you had no fears. It was about moving forward despite them. "I do not have a business background like many of you," Emily began, "but I know what it feels like to need an opportunity. I know what it feels like when someone believes in you before you believe in yourself." The room became quiet. Her words reached people because they were not prepared from a presentation. They came from experience. After the meeting, William walked with her through the office. "You were great," he said. Emily smiled. "I was nervous." "I know. She looked surprised. You knew? William laughed softly. That is what made it honest. They stopped near the large windows overlooking the city. Years ago, William had stood in places like this believing success meant being untouchable. Now he understood that success meant staying connected. Do you ever think about that night at the station? Emily asked. William smiled. More than you know. Why do you think you remembered me? He looked thoughtful. Because everyone else saw my situation. You saw me. Emily became quiet. She understood the difference. People often noticed what someone lacked. Few people noticed who they were beneath it. That evening, William attended a private dinner with several business leaders. During the conversation, one guest commented about people struggling financially. Sometimes people just need to work harder, the man said casually. William listened before responding. Sometimes people are already working harder than anyone realizes. The room became silent. William continued. A person paying with coins may not lack effort. They may simply be carrying responsibilities others cannot see. The comment stayed with everyone. William did not mention Emily's name. He did not need to. The lesson was enough. Meanwhile, Emily returned home and found her mother waiting with the blue scarf she had purchased. Grace smiled. You know, I still cannot believe what happened. Emily laughed. Neither can I. Her mother touched the scarf gently. You spent so much time worrying about having enough. Maybe you forgot that you already had something valuable. Emily looked at her. What? Grace smiled. A good heart. Those words stayed with Emily. She had spent years measuring her life by what she could provide. The bills she paid. The responsibilities she carried. The problems she solved. She rarely considered the impact of simple kindness. The next day, William visited the community center again. This time, Emily joined him. They watched families receive support, students learn new skills, and people discover opportunities they once thought were impossible. William looked around and smiled. This is what success should look like. Emily nodded. It looks different than I imagined. How? She asked. He looked at the people around them. Less like a trophy, more like a hand reaching out. Emily smiled. Their journey had started with one person helping another without expecting anything. But kindness had a way of returning. Not always through money. Not always through recognition. Sometimes it returned as a new opportunity. Sometimes as a changed life. And sometimes as the reminder that the smallest actions can create the biggest transformations. The impact of Emily Carter's journey continued to grow, but she never allowed recognition to change who she was. She still arrived at the community center early. She still listened carefully to every person who walked through the door. She still remembered what it felt like to stand on the outside of opportunities and hope someone would notice. That memory became the foundation of everything she did. William Anderson watched her work with admiration. He had met countless talented people throughout his career, but Emily had something different. She understood people because she had experienced life from a place where many voices were ignored. One afternoon, William invited Emily to a private discussion with the leadership team. The purpose was to review the future direction of the community initiative. When Emily entered the room, she noticed several executives looking at her with curiosity. Some knew her story. Others only knew that William trusted her. She sat quietly until the discussion began. The executives presented future plans, budgets, and expansion ideas. Everything sounded impressive, but Emily noticed one important detail missing. May I share something? She asked. Everyone turned toward her. William smiled. Of course. Emily looked at the information on the screen. The plans are strong, but I think we need to remember the people behind them. One executive asked, What do you mean? Emily answered calmly. When someone needs help, they are not thinking about programs or statistics. They are thinking about whether anyone sees them. The room became silent. She continued, A person who is struggling does not need to feel like a problem that needs to be solved. They need to feel like a person who still has potential. William watched the executives listen. These were the same kinds of conversations he once avoided because they did not appear on financial reports. But now he understood. The strongest decisions came from understanding real lives. After the meeting, William and Emily walked through the building. You know you changed this company, he said. Emily smiled. I think the company was already changing. I just shared what I knew. William shook his head. That is exactly why you changed it. They stopped near the lobby where employees moved through the busy space. Years earlier, Emily had stood in another store surrounded by people who saw only her coins. Now she stood in a place where people listened to her ideas. but she was still the same person. That was what mattered most. Later that week, William received an invitation to a major business event celebrating successful leaders. In previous years, he would have attended without hesitation. But this time, he brought Emily as a guest. When they arrived, many people recognized William immediately. They approached him with questions about business growth and investments. Then they noticed Emily standing beside him. Some wondered who she was. William introduced her simply. "This is Emily Carter. She is one of the people who taught me the most important lesson about success." Emily felt uncomfortable with the attention. She whispered, "You did not have to say that." William smiled. "Yes, I did." During the event, William was asked about his greatest achievement. Many expected him to mention his company. Instead, he paused before answering. "My greatest achievement was learning that success is not only about reaching the top. It is about remembering who helped you climb there." The room listened quietly. William continued, "There was a time when someone helped me when I had nothing. She did not know my future. She did not know my name. She only knew another person needed kindness." Across the room, Emily looked down with a small smile. She never expected her simple choice years ago to become part of someone else's success story. After the event, they walked outside beneath the evening lights. "You really believe one small moment can change everything?" Emily asked. William looked at the city around them. "I do," he smiled, "because I know it happened to me." Emily thought about the coins she once placed on a counter. The moment she felt embarrassed. The moment she wished nobody was watching. Now she understood something. The world may notice what people have, but the right people notice who they are. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness becomes the beginning of a story that changes far more lives than anyone could imagine. Several months after Emily Carter first walked into Anderson Holdings, the community initiative had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Families found jobs, students received scholarships, and small business owners discovered mentors who believed in them before they believed in themselves. Newspapers praised William Anderson's vision, but William always redirected the credit. "Good ideas come from listening," he often said, "and the best lessons rarely come from the people with the biggest offices." Emily never became comfortable with public attention. She preferred spending her mornings meeting families, organizing workshops, and speaking quietly with people who reminded her of the woman she used to be. She knew the fear of counting every dollar. She knew the embarrassment of feeling judged before anyone learned her name. Those memories never disappeared. They became the reason she treated every visitor with patience. One afternoon, while leaving the community center, Emily noticed a young woman standing outside, holding a small envelope. Her clothes were neat but worn, and she looked unsure whether she should walk inside. Emily smiled warmly. "Can I help you?" The young woman hesitated. "I'm not sure I belong here." Emily remembered saying almost the same words to herself months earlier when she entered Anderson Holdings for the first time. "Come with me," she said gently. "Everyone belongs somewhere. Sometimes they just need someone to open the first door." William watched the conversation from across the lobby without interrupting. He noticed how naturally Emily made people feel seen. She never spoke down to anyone. She never acted like she had all the answers. She simply listened. That evening, William joined Emily for a quiet walk after the center closed. The streets were calm, and the lights from nearby buildings reflected softly across the sidewalks. "You know," William said, "I used to think leadership meant having the best strategy." Emily smiled. "And now?" He laughed quietly. "Now I think it starts with remembering someone's name." Emily looked at him with amusement. "That sounds much simpler." "It is simpler," William replied. "It is also much harder." They continued walking until they reached a small neighborhood diner where they shared coffee and homemade pie. No photographers followed them. No business partners interrupted them. It was simply two people talking about life. Emily told William about her childhood, about learning from her mother that dignity could never be purchased, only protected. William listened carefully. "Your mother raised an extraordinary daughter," he said. Emily smiled softly. "She raised me to believe that people are more important than possessions." The following week, Anderson Holdings held its annual employee gathering. Hundreds of employees filled the auditorium expecting another corporate presentation. Instead, William invited Emily onto the stage. She looked surprised but accepted. William addressed the audience with calm sincerity. Many people believe success comes from intelligence, determination, or opportunity. Those things matter. But years ago, when I had lost almost everything, one person reminded me that kindness can rebuild hope faster than money ever could. He turned toward Emily. She never asked for recognition. She never expected anything in return. Today, I simply want everyone here to understand that the values shaping this company did not begin in a boardroom. They began with a woman who chose compassion when nobody was watching. The room filled with warm applause. Emily felt her eyes become emotional, but she remained composed. When the applause faded, she stepped toward the microphone. "If there is one thing I have learned," she said softly, "it is that every person you meet is carrying a story you cannot see. Please be careful with the way you treat people. You never know which small moment might become the turning point in someone's life." The audience stood together in quiet appreciation. As William looked across the room, he realized that the greatest investment he had ever made was never listed on a financial statement. It was choosing to honor the kindness that once saved him and making sure it continued reaching people he would never even meet. Months passed, and the changes that began inside Anderson Holdings slowly reached far beyond the company itself. The community initiative expanded into neighborhoods that had long been overlooked, creating opportunities for families, students, and small business owners who simply needed someone willing to believe in them. Emily Carter continued leading the program with the same quiet humility she carried the day she counted coins at the boutique. She never introduced herself by her title. She preferred asking questions before offering advice. William Anderson often watched those conversations from a distance. Every time he saw Emily listening patiently to someone who felt invisible, he remembered the evening she had done exactly the same for him years before. One autumn afternoon, William visited the community center without announcing his arrival. He found Emily sitting beside an elderly man who looked discouraged after losing his longtime job. She was not promising miracles. She was helping him organize a simple plan for the next week. When the man left with a hopeful smile, William walked over quietly. "You always know what to say," he remarked. Emily shook her head gently. "Most people already know what they need. They just need someone willing to listen long enough." William smiled because he knew that answer came from experience rather than theory. Later that week, Anderson Holdings hosted a volunteer day where executives worked alongside employees at local charities. Instead of giving speeches, William asked every senior manager to spend the day serving meals, organizing donations, and speaking directly with the people receiving support. Some executives admitted afterward that they had learned more in one afternoon than they had in years of reading reports. William simply nodded. He had expected that. The greatest lessons rarely arrived inside conference rooms. Emily spent the day helping children choose school supplies for the upcoming semester. She noticed one little girl quietly placing a notebook back on the shelf after realizing she could not afford the matching backpack she wanted. Emily gently picked up the backpack and placed it beside the notebook. "I think those belong together," she said with a warm smile. The girl's eyes filled with gratitude. William witnessed the moment from across the room. He recognized the same pattern once again. Emily never waited for people to ask for kindness. She noticed the need before words were spoken. That evening, William drove Emily home after the event. As they passed the boutique where they had unexpectedly reunited months earlier, Emily looked through the window and smiled softly. "Everything started there," she said. William glanced toward the storefront. "No," he answered quietly. "Everything started years before that, when one person decided another stranger deserved compassion." Emily laughed gently. "You really refuse to let that memory go." William looked at her with quiet sincerity. "Because it changed the direction of my life." They arrived outside Emily's home, where Grace Carter was waiting on the porch. She greeted William warmly, inviting him inside for homemade apple pie. During dinner, Grace looked at both of them before speaking. "People spend so much time asking how someone became successful," she said. "Very few ask who helped them become the kind of person they are." The room became quiet. William looked toward Emily and smiled. "I know exactly who helped me." Emily lowered her eyes, slightly embarrassed, but Grace simply smiled with quiet understanding. Before leaving, William stepped onto the porch and looked back at the warm light glowing through the windows of the small house. It was not the largest home he had ever entered. It did not contain expensive furniture or grand decorations. Yet it held something many luxurious places never could. It held peace. As he drove away, William realized that Emily had never measured wealth by what people possessed. She measured it by what they were willing to give. And perhaps that was why the poorest girl he had ever met had quietly become one of the richest souls he had ever known. The years continued to pass, but Emily Carter never forgot the feeling of standing at that boutique counter with a handful of coins. Whenever she welcomed someone into the community center, she remembered the uncertainty in her own heart that afternoon. She remembered wondering whether anyone could see beyond her financial situation. That memory became the quiet promise guiding every decision she made. No visitor would ever leave feeling invisible if she could help it. William Anderson often said the greatest transformation inside Anderson Holdings was not the new community initiative or the awards it received. It was the culture that slowly changed inside the company. Managers began spending time volunteering with local organizations. Employees suggested mentorship programs for students from underserved neighborhoods. Departments competed to create opportunities instead of simply meeting financial goals. None of those ideas were required by company policy. They grew naturally because people witnessed what happened when kindness became part of leadership instead of something separate from it. One spring morning, Emily arrived at the community center earlier than usual and found a handwritten envelope resting on her desk. Inside was a short note from William. It read, "Thank you for reminding me that every balance sheet should include humanity." Emily smiled quietly before placing the note inside the same folder where she kept letters from families whose lives had changed through the program. To her, those letters were worth more than any professional award. Later that afternoon, William invited Emily to visit a new education center the company had recently completed. As they walked through classrooms filled with students learning new skills, Emily noticed photographs displayed along one hallway. They showed ordinary people whose lives had improved after receiving guidance, encouragement, or a second opportunity. None of the photographs featured celebrities or executives. They featured teachers, mechanics, nurses, students, and parents. William stopped beside the final photograph. It showed a simple image of two hands sharing a meal across a small table. Emily looked at him with surprise. "That looks familiar." William nodded. "It is inspired by the night we met." Emily laughed softly. "Nobody would know that." "I would," he replied. "And that is enough." As they continued walking, a young volunteer approached Emily with excitement. "I wanted to tell you something," she said. "Last year I came here asking for help finding my first job. Today I am mentoring other students." Emily congratulated her warmly. After the volunteer walked away, William quietly observed the exchange. "Do you see what you created?" he asked. Emily gently shook her head. "No. I see what people become when someone believes in them." That answer reminded William once again why Emily had changed his life years earlier. She never claimed credit for goodness. She simply passed it forward. That evening, Emily and Grace shared dinner together at home. Grace unfolded the same blue scarf Emily had once purchased with carefully saved coins and wrapped it around her shoulders. "It is still my favorite gift," she said. Emily smiled. "Even after all these years?" Grace nodded. "Because I know what it cost." Emily understood immediately. Her mother was not talking about money. She was talking about sacrifice, love, and intention. Those things never lost value. Several weeks later, Anderson Holdings celebrated another successful year. During the closing ceremony, William stood before employees from every department. Instead of speaking about profits, he told them a story about a young woman who once stood in a store counting coins without losing her dignity. He never mentioned her name. He simply ended with one sentence. "Never confuse someone's circumstances with their worth." The room rose in quiet applause. Emily remained near the back, smiling softly. She had never wanted recognition. She had only wanted people to treat one another with respect. As the evening ended, William walked outside with Emily beneath the fading sunset. They looked across the city where countless strangers were living stories nobody else could see. William smiled. "Do you know what I have learned?" Emily looked at him. "What?" He answered without hesitation. "The richest person in the room is never the one holding the most money. It is the one who still chooses kindness when nobody expects it." Emily looked toward the horizon and quietly nodded. Sometimes the world changes because of great inventions. Sometimes it changes because of remarkable leaders. And sometimes it changes because one ordinary person quietly places compassion ahead of comfort, never realizing that a single act of kindness can echo through countless lives for years to come. Years passed, yet neither Emily Carter nor William Anderson ever forgot the afternoon when a handful of coins changed the direction of two lives. The luxury boutique where strangers once whispered about a poor young woman slowly became just another store in the city. But for them, it remained the place where gratitude finally found its voice. Anderson Holdings continued to expand across the country, yet William no longer measured success by quarterly reports or market value alone. Every major decision began with one simple question: will this help real people? That question became part of the company's culture because one woman had quietly reminded him that dignity should never depend on wealth. Emily never sought recognition for what she had done. She continued visiting neighborhoods, mentoring young people, and encouraging families who believed life had forgotten them. Whenever someone thanked her, she always smiled and answered the same way: "One kind person changed my life once. I am only passing that kindness forward." Grace Carter often watched her daughter with quiet pride. One evening, while folding the familiar blue scarf that had started everything, she said softly, "You spent years thinking you had so little to give." Emily smiled. "I remember." Grace touched her hand gently. "Now look how many lives have become warmer because of what you carried inside." Emily realized her mother had always understood something she herself only learned much later. The greatest gifts were rarely expensive. They were given freely, one heart at a time. On the 5th anniversary of the Community Foundation, hundreds of families gathered for a celebration. Children laughed across the lawn while volunteers, teachers, and local business owners shared stories about opportunities that had changed their futures. William stood beside Emily as they watched the crowd enjoying an ordinary afternoon that had become extraordinary simply because people cared for one another. During the ceremony, a young woman stepped onto the stage holding a small glass jar filled with coins. The audience looked at her curiously. She smiled before speaking. "Several years ago, I could only pay for groceries with coins. I thought people saw my poverty before they saw me. Then this foundation helped me find work, confidence, and hope. I kept one jar of coins to remind myself never to judge another person's struggle." She placed the jar on the podium. The room fell silent. Emily looked at William, and he quietly smiled back. Neither of them needed to explain why that simple jar carried so much meaning. After the applause faded, William invited Emily to join him on stage. She hesitated as always, but finally accepted. Looking across the crowd, she saw faces filled with possibility rather than fear. "Years ago," she began softly, "I believed kindness disappeared once people became successful. I was wrong. Kindness grows when people choose not to forget where they came from. Never assume someone standing quietly beside you has nothing to offer. The person carrying coins today may be carrying courage, wisdom, and compassion that will change someone else's life tomorrow." As the sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, families began walking home together, carrying flowers, books, and hopeful conversations. William and Emily remained standing for a few quiet moments after everyone else had left. The evening breeze moved gently across the empty chairs as they looked toward the place where children had been laughing only minutes before. William smiled. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if you had walked past me that night?" Emily looked toward the fading light and answered with the same quiet certainty that had guided her entire life. "Kindness never asks what will happen next. It simply chooses to stop." William nodded, understanding that those simple words had become the foundation of everything he valued. The coins were never the real story. The luxury store was never the real story. The real story was that the world judged a woman by what she carried in her hands, while one man remembered what she carried in her heart. And in the end, everyone discovered that the richest person is never the one who owns the most, but the one whose kindness continues to echo long after every coin has been spent.